This is basic drone maintenance and care for your drone. In this lesson and video, we're going to show you how to get a return on your investment to make sure your drone lasts for a long time. Drone maintenance guide, we're going to talk about regular maintenance, taking care of your equipment. So think of your drone as a car. If you have a car, you want to make sure you get your oil changed, you want to get your tires rotated, going to make sure that car is clean, shiny, depending on what type of vehicle you have. Same thing with a drone. You want to make sure it lasts a long time. That way you get an enjoyment for flying. And in this lesson, we'll cover routine maintenance, care and inspection, weather awareness, troubleshooting, and resources, and why it matters to fix something before it went wrong. Let's get first routine maintenance. We're going to talk about pre-flight checklists, making sure that the visual damage of your drone body, propellers, and the gear that's associated with landing on your drone, depending on what type of model you have. And in this video, we're going to talk about general maintenance, depending on what type of drone, what type of industry, everything's going to be different. But these are the key aspects I want you to focus on throughout this lesson. Check the remote controller battery level and connection, verify GPS signal strength. Sometimes you may need to calibrate the compass if necessary, and then keeping spare batteries charged and rotate their use to prevent degradation. In this slide right here, I'm going to talk about the different components in the care and inspection that you need to take in consideration to get the most out of your drone. First things first, the propellers. Just inspect it to make sure it's not bent, they're not damaged, or it does not perform differently whenever you're in flight. Check the camera to make sure it's clean and that your gimbal is not stuck during when you're transporting. Make sure it's secure to prevent any damage to your gimbal assembly. The drone body, you want to inspect to make sure the drone body is not damaged, scratched, cracked, dent, or any damage that prevent operational use. The remote controller, you're going to make sure it pairs, check the batteries, make sure they charge properly. Also, you want to check the performance when you use the controller. If it's supposed to go to the left, it actually moves to the left, and vice versa. Battery. For the battery, you want to avoid overcharging and discharging the batteries to make sure it's completely good. Kind of like when you use your cell phone, you don't want to leave it on the charger overnight. You want to make sure everything's good and the life of your battery lasts longer. GPS and compass. Sometimes you need to calibrate your compass, but make sure you check it before flight. Depending on the model you have, it will give you an error of it needs to calibrate it, kind of like the figure 8. But we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. The motor of your drone, make sure it performs when you push on the throttle and landing gear. Weather considerations. So depending on what type of weather, where your location is, it can affect the performance of your drone and also the battery. Let's say you live somewhere cold or somewhere in extreme temperatures, it affects the life of your battery. If you live somewhere humid, foggy, it affects the performance of your sensors if you have any. Wind speed and rain also affects the performance of your drone. So in summary, check the forecast and make sure you avoid any adverse conditions and monitor any temperature changes on your drone. Troubleshoot techniques. Here is a list of performing techniques for problem solving. Sometimes you may run into GPS signal loss, the erratic behavior of your flight, also the camera malfunctions. Those are some typical things that you need to pay attention of when you're flying your drone. Systematically diagnose your problems, consult your manual if you have one, and keep a log of any troubleshooting issues, and perform software and update your firmware to make sure any bugs, compatibility issues are worked out. Firmware updates. We just talked about this. Depending on what type of drone you have, you could have firmware updates. So regularly check that through your website of the manufacturer, any apps that you may have, but making sure your drone is up to date kind of takes the bugs and kinks out of it to make sure it performs well, and it's a part of your routine maintenance. Compass calibration. This ensures that your drone is accurate with its GPS coordinates, and also you want to avoid any magnetic interference. Find a flat area, keep it away from any metal, such as your car or a building or anything that projects the compass um, readings to make sure it's accurate and steady. Double check the measurements. Just because you see it on your screen doesn't mean it's correct. So always make sure you use the figure 8 pattern. That way you follow directions of your manufacturer of your drone. Here's a list of resources. I recommend you just being able to tie into a group, check out tutorials. If you have a website like DJI, if you have a DJI drone, there's a lot of different resources that you can have as far as maintenance and care. Make sure you have like a warranty or protection on your drone. And we talked about routine maintenance, care and inspection, weather awareness, troubleshooting, and resources. This video is intended for beginners, just to give you a quick snapshot of what it takes to maintain your drone, how to care for it, and how to inspect it. Everyone is different, but this is just an overview. If you'd like to know more, please feel free to check out my website. We'll have more information, blogs, articles, and tie in to other great information out there. Other than that, this is the end of this lesson. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you are a drone pilot or interested in flying drones. That's all we talk about on this channel. So other than that, thank you. Take care. See you when I see you.